When did you get an interest in being in arts? Was that something that manifested when you were very young, or is it something you discovered later in life?
I loved rock and roll, so I spent time in the coals of New Hampshire teaching myself how to play guitar and write songs. But I did realize that perhaps I wasn't going to be the next superstar as an artist, which that's a whole nother subject matter, but that I liked the business. So I formed my own record company, publishing company, management company, and I went to run a not-for-profit here in Boston called the Wang Center for the Performing Arts. We're in it because it's really important that a city have a nonprofit performing arts center and leaders in the arts community that provide the catalyst for us to being a better city. That's what we do. As a young teenager, going to what was then called the Music Hall, now the Wang Theater, and seeing Frank Zappa and Cat Stevens and Allman Brothers and Neil Young, and is when you could actually smoke dope on the Boston Common and nobody arrested you. I guess you could do that now too. And it was a hell of a scene, right? So we had great clubs, great bands, but when I first started as the new CEO, the Wang Theater was going to be bulldozed down. The Colonial was dark, the Schubert was dark, the Wilbur was dark, the Opera House was dark.
Were they just falling in disrepair?
And they're falling totally in disrepair. And so today, how cool is that? That, you know, for the most part, all the theaters are back operating. But you've read, you've heard, and I truly believe there still are too many theaters, too many seats, and not enough product to fill all those theaters. And that is a problem that we have to face in the short term in Boston today.
How do you think all this ability to cope with constant change and all this upheaval, how does this translate into being a leader, being a good manager, and ultimately being an entrepreneur?
Entrepreneurship is about embracing change. And if you embrace that change, positive things can happen. Many years ago, I was asked to give a speech at BU. So I asked them in the room, I said, does anybody here read the Boston Globe? And maybe 5 hands went up. I said, how many people read the Boston Sunday Globe? Maybe 2 hands went up. Anyone here read the New York Times? No hands went up. So then I said to the room, how many use MySpace? And 100% of the hands went up. We walked out and started advertising on MySpace the next morning. Have we not changed our strategy 10 years ago, we wouldn't be in business today. We'd be gone.
You've been both let's call it a for-profit entrepreneur and then an entrepreneur in the non-profit sector. I'm curious to hear from you, what do you think the difference is in terms of operating within these two spheres?
Well, Philadelphia Opera went bankrupt 2 days ago, all right? Ottawa went bankrupt last week. Vancouver is changing to a festival format. So you have to find a new model. And so I'm beat up all the time that you're not really nonprofit. You're doing Ringo Starr Friday night, you just did Chris Cornell last night, and yes, you're doing Spellbound Dance Company last weekend, but you know, that's more commercialized. I believe that's what the public wants to see. It's not my job to tell people what they should see. My job is to give you the ability to see lots of different things. And though we present the kinds of product we do, we're investing it back into collaboration and partnership with other not-for-profits, you know, using the building for education, using the building for all kinds of things that we think benefit the community. I've had the honor to be the CEO for starting 29 years, but I play a small part in forever. Not-for-profit organizations and universities look at themselves as forever. And each one of us who plays a role during those particular times, we better do it to the best of our abilities, and we better be successful at it, or why do it?